Testing a new device this morning. You will visually be able to keep track of your own time. There's a green light. There's a yellow light that'll come on 30 seconds before the end of your time, and there's a red light at the 3-minute mark. So with this many speakers, I ask that you keep to the issue of commenting on the EIR, and you keep to 3 minutes. And if you find a tendency to repeat something that's already said, move ahead in your comments so that we can keep on track. This alone will take us over an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and so I just ask for your indulgence, your respect, and we can move this forward in a very timely and respectful manner. So I'll call the first speaker, and then I'll call the next person up. Mr. Hall.
Just want to point out, if people find that they can't state everything that they feel that they need to say in 3 minutes, they can submit written comments, and those are accepted until February 15th.
Yes, and we have a substantial file of written comments. We have additional comments this morning that we're seeing passed around by Mr. Monnier and Granite Construction. So we're reading those as we're listening to you. We're not disrespecting you by not paying attention. We're trying to read these additional comments as we proceed. And please keep your comments to the draft environmental impact report. We're not here to cheerlead or to speak against a project. We're here to look at the scientific facts of whether or not they're sufficient for approval or not. We're not here to cheerlead or dissuade us from a project. That's not before us today. Okay, so the first speaker will be Charles Martin, followed by Dori Kramer.
Thank you for this opportunity, Supervisors. My name is Charles Martin, and I have some petitions here. I represent somewhat my own self. I work on the steering committee of Keep the Code, and I also represent the people at the mobile village at Ridgewood Ranch, which is a mobile home park of about 100 residents. I have petitions here from the mobile home park, which I'll submit, of about 67 members that oppose the project, and I also have another submittal, and I'll discuss that later. At 2005, I literally submitted a letter to the Board of Supervisors on this project. I criticized it from strictly a technical standpoint. Nothing has changed from what I submitted earlier. It has not improved one bit. To give you a little background, I happen to be a mechanical engineer. I've had 30 years of experience in pollution control, design of industrial facilities. For about 5 years, I was in charge of environmental controls for Kaiser Aluminum's 10 plants throughout the country. Those plants were all required to use best available technology in each of the states, and each of the states' regulations varied somewhat. In California, and particularly in this area and in the Bay Area, there was one plant in Union City which had to put significant afterburners on their paint lines because of the requirements to control the air quality. There is no proposal in this project to do anything but put on bag filters to control the air quality of the asphalt plant. This is an atrocious oversight and an atrocious example. They are planning on release, and keep in mind that the Air Quality District of the state of California and also the local district of Mendocino County has also required that you use best available control technology. This is available, there is available technology that is not being proposed for this project. You are going to be dumping 120 pounds of volatile organic carcinogenic compounds into the air every day. This works out to be about 30,000 pounds per year. I mean, it's insane that there is not best technology being used. The best technology is capable of removing 98% of all the volatile organic compounds and all the carcinogenic compounds. Why isn't this being proposed? Why wasn't this caught in the DAR? I have to ask that question because it's a very serious one. You're talking about these fumes literally passing off into the atmosphere, condensing on the vegetation, and potentially contaminating the water supplies of Ridgewood Ranch. Also in Santa Clara County, They've had massive pollution of their water supplies from ammonium perchlorate. Where did it come from? It came from the rocket exhaust that came off of the firings in the hills above Morgan Hill. I happen to be an engineer on that project, so I can attest to the quality of that material that was thrown into the air. I think you've all looked at some of the launches from Cape Canaveral. Well, two or three of those firings are literally basically equivalent to the asphalt plant for 1 year. So you're literally potentially contaminating the water supplies. Thank you so much. I have a lot of other things, but I'll pass this on to you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. We do have your written comments.
I've also resubmitted my comments from 2005 too, and that's in that package right there.
Thank you. Dori Kramer, followed by Mark Oswell.
Good morning. My name is Dori Kramer. I am a member of Keep the Code. Our name suggests that we'd like to keep the zoning codes as they are currently. Our group is not opposed to existing quarry operations. We are not opposed to rock extraction. But I would like to raise two questions about the draft EIR. Number one, the traffic study and the draft EIR have significant errors and discrepancies, resulting in the need to revise many of the figures and tables in both the draft EIR and the traffic study. For example, the current base case is a maximum of 8 trucks per hour, 8 trucks at peak hour. That's what's happening currently. However, the base case scenario used in the traffic analysis uses the figure of 18 trucks peak hour as the comparison value. And I think the reason that came about is that there was an assumption made. The draft EIR requests the quarry extraction to expand to 200,000 cubic yards per year as opposed to the current 75,000 cubic yards per year. That's an unwarranted assumption for a traffic study. The result is that the draft EIR shows the change in projected traffic, truck traffic from 18 to 26, but it wouldn't be from 18 to 26. It would be from the current 8 to 26. The number 18 comes into the figure because there's an assumption being made that the increase in rock extraction would happen, which would bring us up to 18. So I think to be fair in our analysis, we need to start with where we actually are now, not where we think we might be if we approve a portion of the project. And in my letter, I reference where these citations are taken, what pages in the EIR I found this information. A second concern has to do with the, quote, challenging slopes. The draft EIR refers to the site as being occupying challenging slopes. The project involves very steep fill slopes up to 75 feet, storing thousands of pounds of hazardous material in the processing area. There would be the slopes, erosive soil, and a location that's in an earthquake zone characterized as severe shaking. The sole mitigation in the draft EIR is, quote, proper engineering by certified engineers. Well, we would like to point out that Caltrans has a room full of certified civil engineers and geotechnical engineers, geologists, and they're doing the very best they can with a lot greater fiscal resources, and yet they've not been able to find a solution to keeping 2 lanes of Highway 101 open in both directions. They're fighting challenges on very similar terrain. So what is the assurance that just a little bit down the hill there, that proper engineering will prevent slipping and sliding of that particular site area, which is going to house petroleum, hot mix, cement, and concrete? What is the emergency storage plan for toxic asphalt and concrete ingredients in the event of slippage? Those are 2 areas of concern. I request that the draft EIR be recirculated for comment again after the changes are made.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mark Oswell, followed by Jack Monnier.